What's going on, filmmakers? I'm Alexandru and today I'm gonna take you behind the scenes on a jewelry commercial. So let's begin.
Îndrăznește să fii tu. Fii autentică și poartă bijuteriile potrivite fiecărui moment. Splendor strălucește în fiecare zi.
So, let me know what you think about this commercial. It was really fun to shoot. We had a lot of fun, but it was also very hard. It was hard because we had to shoot the entire thing really fast, more exactly in just a few hours. And in the same day, they also did photographies for this campaign. So it was kind of tricky because we had to jump between photography and videography in the same day, and we created a different lighting and different mood for each scene. And therefore, that's why today I wanna split this behind the scenes into 4 or 5 parts, and we're gonna talk only on one scene because this commercial is pretty complex and I really want you to understand exactly what I did in order to light one scene. So I don't really want to fill your brain with tons of information. But anyway, we're gonna go behind the scenes right now and I'm gonna explain each and every step that I made in order to light one of the scenes. So we're gonna begin with the scenes where I shot in a bar. So this scene was pretty hardcore. And it was pretty hardcore because we had a lot of backlight. And whenever you film in a room or in a building and you want to film against the window, you're gonna have a lot of troubles. Number one, your lights are going to be reflected in the window. Second, you're gonna have to compensate with a ton of light in order to make the light that you want. And even though you're using really powerful lights like I use from Nanlite, it's still gonna be hard to compensate with the sun. The sun is always super powerful, so it's really hard to compensate with it. And the third thing is that the light changes a lot. So let's say you're shooting against a window, you make your lighting like I did right now, and then the sun pops out or the sun goes into the shadow. It's gonna be a little bit tricky. So what we did here was we compromised our highlights from outdoor, and I used a filter that it kind of gives me an effect that looks nice, but I'm gonna get to that in a minute. First, let's start with the lighting I used. So we're gonna start with the first light I used, which is one of my favorite lights of all time. I use this on all my projects because it's super easy to control your light with this light. kind of weird, but anyway, I always used the Nanlite Forza 60B bicolor, so I can change my white balance of the light in any situation. And then I use this projector lens because it's super nice to have a projector lens on a light because it's super easy to control your light using that projector. You can put blinds, you can put a lot of filters in this projector lens and you can create different kind of effects. In my case, I use this light as a backlight. I used a lot of pavo tubes. Pavo tubes were a requirement from the client on this project, so we had all our pavo tubes right there and they were great. And I also used the Nanlite Mix Panel 150, which is a light that I use more and more. I really love using this with the softbox on and also with a grid. It's super nice to use this in very tiny spaces because you can do a lot of great lighting and soft lighting with this one. And it's also RGB, so it's great for this kind of situations where you want to have a really good light for everything. I also used the PavoTube 6C, the small ones. They are very helpful to have in your bag. I always carry them with me no matter what. I always have them with me, even though I'm not using them all the time, it's very beneficial to have a really small light source that you can put here and there in some situations. And for me, I put this one on the top shelf of the bar. I thought it was giving me a really interesting effect, so why not? And then here you can kind of see a little bit of the layout that we had. I'm trying to put a top light for the actress because I had a lot of reflections, like I said, in the window. And with these reflections, it was really hard to put light really close to our actress because it was visible into the glass from behind her. Here you can see our main key light. So I used the Nanlite Mixpanel 150 as my key light, which was really good. So here is the before and after lighting. So how crazy is this? Like from this to this is what lighting does. This is the power of lighting. This is why you guys have to take your time to light your sets really good. It's everything. You can use any camera you want, any lenses you want, anamorphic lenses, I don't know, crazy lenses. They will all look bad if the lighting is bad. So you kind of have to work on your lighting all the time. Whenever I go on set, my mindset is, how do I light this whole space? Is it possible to light it as I want? And if not, what are my solutions? This is how I usually think. By the way, we're getting to the what camera I use part. And you will see that I use the Sony FX6 with the 50mm f1.2 all the time lately. And it looks great. I don't want to complicate my workflow with different kind of big bulky cinema lenses or with a focus puller or something like that. I just want to be super efficient and I want to be creative in lighting because this is where you're gonna see a difference in quality. But anyway, I used a Dream FX filter from Princeless Effects, and that filter is a little bit too powerful, but it kind of looks cool. You kind of don't have to do any more post-production on the skin and face because it blurs out the skin really beautiful. As you see, her skin looks flawless, and that's because of the filter. If I didn't use filter, you would see everything on her face, like real dots, real freckles, or anything like that. So this filter smooths out skin really good. So let me show you my lighting diagram. So what I did is, let's first make the setup. So here is our table, here is our actress, here is the bar, here is our camera. I put my pivot tubes here in the back. So I have 4 pivot tubes, and these pivot tubes are on a different color. They are, let's say, blue. And I also had 2 different mix panels, and these mix panels were set on purple. I also had the small pivot tube 6C here on the bar up, and I also had my backlight here that was heating like this. And I also had my key light here, which was a Forza 150 with a softbox and a grid. And to make things a little bit better and to have more control over the lighting, I had a pivot tube right here on the same color as the mix panel, and it was giving me light on the subject really beautiful. I kind of made the whole lighting in a way that it's good from any angle she stays, so I don't have to change the lighting. And a lot of you have asked me over the past, why do I light so flat on people's faces? And that is because over my experience and during the course of a lot of years of work, I realized that women don't really like cinematic lighting. They want their faces to be lit perfectly. They want their faces to have no shadows at all, and they want their faces to look as good as possible. And when you light cinematically, it is kind of harsh on the face. I mean, even though you're using soft lighting and all that, like girls will still not be pleased with how their faces looks in a cinematic lighting environment. Of course, if you're shooting something that is narrative, like a movie or a short film or something like that, it's a different story. But if you're shooting a beauty commercial, you're gonna want to have perfect lighting on women's faces. But anyway, I shot everything handheld, and I gotta say the Sony FX6 is kind of crazy when it comes to how stable it feels in the hand. And I've said this in the past, if your camera has bad rolling shutter, you're gonna have bad handheld shots. But Sony FX6 has a really fast rolling shutter. It's so smooth to film handheld. And as you can see, some of the shots look that they are shot from a gimbal or something like that. So I'm on 50 millimeters and I'm moving and doing all sorts of things, and the camera looks stable. For example, the behind the scenes are shot with the A7 IV, which doesn't have such a good rolling shutter, and as you can see, it's a little bit shaky. But anyway, handheld shots for me are the best thing ever. I always love to shoot handheld, so for me it's very beneficial and it's very fast. You're kind of removing the gimbal's issue of having to calibrate a gimbal, having to anticipate the gimbal movement. So while filming handheld, you're obviously more connected with the camera. So I had some shots where I did this interesting effect, and to do this I used my Vaxis filters. Let me show you which ones. The really nice filters from Vaxis. This one is 2 times diopter. This one I didn't use it, but I used the other one. Let me show you. This is a kaleidoscope and it's really nice. Check it out. Woo. Super crazy. So I used this one for a couple of shots. I thought it was looking pretty interesting, and I don't know, I had a little bit of fun. And then at the end we had a confetti shot that was a little bit tricky because we only had 2 chances of getting this right. So that's why I chose to use a second camera. And I had the second camera on a gimbal and was operated by my first AC Ciprian, which you should follow on Instagram. We shot this from 2 angles, so I have I'm getting the shot no matter what, but I had the different angle be a little bit more wide in case I want to use a wider angle. So I think it looked pretty cool. I love the shots and I love how they turned out, and here you can see us checking if we got the shots right, and as you can see we didn't, so we kind of had to go one more time. So we had to collect all the sparkles from the ground and reuse them, and it was quite interesting, but we got the shot right at the end. But anyway guys, this was getting a little bit long as you can see, but that's why I wanted to create more parts so I can focus on each part and each scene more and go into more detail. But if you guys have any questions regarding this scene and this review or this behind the scenes, please let me know down in the comments, and I'll be very happy to respond and help you out with any information you want. Also, excuse my lighting from today. It was kind of sunny and cloudy and I couldn't like manage the sun. I'm at home and all my lights are at the studio. But yeah, also guys, it's been such a long time since I have posted, and I feel like you guys have missed a lot of things about what's going on. and I'm gonna keep you updated with a vlog. I'm gonna try and do a vlog where I show you all the new crazy stuff that I got. It's gonna be pretty interesting. So thanks a lot for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and until next time, go out there, shoot some epic content and have fun. Cheers.